She stared at her reflection, fingers gripping the edge of the sink, breath shaky. For too long, Alina had been the quiet one, the woman who stayed, who compromised, who believed love alone was enough. But tonight, as the echo of Daniel's careless words still rang in her ears, "Maybe you're just not ambitious enough for my world," something inside her broke. Alina, 29, had built a life around loyalty and dreams she never prioritized. Daniel, 32, her boyfriend of 4 years, a rising corporate strategist, once admired her gentle resilience. But somewhere between boardrooms and briefcases, he forgot who stood by him when he had nothing, and now, his eyes saw her as ordinary. But this isn't a story of heartbreak. Not this time. Tonight, Alina made a silent vow. She would rise not to get him back. Not for revenge, but because she finally saw her own worth. Enough being the shadow behind someone else's spotlight, she deserved more. As fate would have it, a forgotten sketchbook under her bed would open doors she never imagined. And when a surprise job offer arrives, one that challenges everything. Daniel once doubted Alina must choose, fight for herself or fall back into his arms. But what happens when Daniel, realizing too late what he truly lost, reappears this time not as the man she knew, but the man willing to fight for her? Will love survive success? Or will ambition rewrite the rules? Because proving yourself sometimes means proving them wrong. Alina wasn't always the quiet one. Before Daniel, before she traded paintbrushes for spreadsheets and gallery nights for late-night takeout, she was electric, live with color and confidence. But somewhere along the way, she began dimming herself to match the tempo of his world. Corporate dinners, polite smiles, silences where her dreams once lived. All because she believed love required sacrifice. Daniel had never asked her to give up painting. He didn't need to. His praise was always reserved for ambition, the kind that could be measured in promotions and bonuses. And while he said he loved her, Alina often felt like an accessory, beautiful, supportive, and safely predictable. Now, sitting in her small apartment, fingers tracing old brushstrokes in a forgotten sketchbook, she remembered who she used to be. Each page whispered a version of herself she thought was gone. Across the city, Daniel sat alone in a high-res suite, staring at his untouched whiskey. His Win tonight closing the Thompson merger felt empty. Alina hadn't called. She always called. But this time, silence lingered like a storm. And deep down, he knew why. She had always been his safe place, his calm. But maybe, just maybe, he had taken her presence for granted. He picked up his phone, scrolled to her name, thumb hovering over the call button, ... then stopped. Because love, real love, isn't just about having someone there, it's about showing up when they begin to leave. The offer came in quietly, an email buried under notifications and promotions. But the sender's name jolted Alina awake. Vivian Cross, creative director, Aurora Studios. It was the very gallery Alina used to dream of working with in college. Apparently, a friend had submitted her old portfolio. Without asking, without telling her, and Vivian loved it. Alina read the email twice. Then again, it was an opportunity to curate a private show, a real exhibit, in New York, in 3 months. But with the offer came fear. The gallery wanted her in the city by next week for meetings, press previews, and full creative control. It wasn't just a job. It was a life-altering leap. Alina sat frozen, one hand on her laptop, the other clutched around a necklace Daniel once gave her. For a moment, she couldn't tell if the pounding in her chest was excitement or panic. Meanwhile, across town, Daniel's best friend, Marcus, confronted him over drinks. "You realize she's slipping away, right? You've built an empire, but you lost your compass." Daniel stared down into his glass. "She didn't want this life. No, man. You didn't let her have hers." Suddenly, the deal, the status, it all felt hollow. As Alina stared out her window at the quiet street below, Daniel stood on the edge of his office rooftop balcony, heart heavier than it had been in years. They were both standing at a crossroads. The question wasn't if they still loved each other, it was, would love be enough when they finally chose themselves? The train ticket lay on her kitchen table, one way to New York. Departure in less than 12 hours. Alina had packed her bags, but her heart refused to settle. She had told no one, not her parents, not Daniel, not even the friend who sent her portfolio, because if she spoke it out loud, it would become real. This was the moment she used to dream of. So why did it feel like a quiet goodbye? She wandered through her apartment one last time, fingers grazing old frames and unopened letters. When she reached the small painting Daniel once begged her to hang, the one she painted during their first year together. She froze. That version of them, full of hope and simplicity, did they even exist anymore? Just then, a knock, not a text, not a call. A knock. Her breath caught. She opened the door, and there he was, Daniel, disheveled, breathless, vulnerable in a way she had never seen before. No suit, no arrogance, just a man unraveling. "I know you're leaving," he said, voice low. "I should have said something sooner. I should have seen you." Her eyes welled, but she said nothing. "You were never too small for my world," he added. "I was too blind to see the size of yours." Silence. "But if this is goodbye, I need you to know, I never stopped loving you." Tears slipped down her cheek. She had waited years to hear that. But was it too late? The clock ticked, her train was leaving, and for the first time, love wasn't the only thing she had to consider. Just as Alina opened her mouth to speak, Daniel's phone buzzed. Once, then again. Reluctantly, he glanced down, and everything in him went still. Alina saw it in his eyes before he could hide it. "Who is it?" she asked softly. He hesitated. "It's from work. It's nothing." But she knew better. She stepped aside. "Answer it." Daniel answered with visible reluctance. A woman's voice echoed through the speaker, calm, clipped, and far too familiar. "Just checking in. You said you'd tell her before she left. Are you still coming to London with us, or not?" "Us." Alina's throat tightened. "London." Daniel tried to explain, but his words fell apart before they reached her. "It's a project. Vivian Cross, the gallery director. She offered me a consulting role." "I didn't know you were. You didn't know I was the artist she invited," Alina finished, stunned. "You were going to take a deal behind my back. With her." Daniel stepped forward, desperate. "I didn't know it was your work until today. I swear. I was going to tell you, you weren't," she whispered. "You didn't believe in me until someone else did, and now you want to be part of my story." The silence between them was deafening. This wasn't just about love anymore. It was about trust, about timing, about everything she'd buried to make room for him. The train was still waiting, but now, she wasn't sure who she was walking away from, or what she'd be walking into. The station clock blinked 11:41 p.m. Alina stood on the empty platform, ticket in hand, heart pounding beneath her coat. Daniel hadn't followed her. Not this time, and maybe that was the closure she needed. She looked up at the stars as the distant rumble of her train echoed in the background. The air was cold, but not unkind. For the first time in years, she wasn't waiting for someone to choose her. She had already chosen herself. Just as the headlights curved into view, footsteps thundered down the platform. She turned slowly, uncertainly. Daniel. Out of breath, soaked from a sudden drizzle. No phone, no excuses, just him. "I turned it down," he said. "London, Vivian. All of it. If I have to lose everything to prove I believe in you, then so be it." Alina's voice trembled. "It's not about proving anything anymore, Daniel." "I know," he said, stepping closer. "It's about standing beside you, not in front. No more us, only when it's easy. I want to be part of your world even if it means watching you shine without me." Tears streamed down her cheeks. Because, for the first time, his words didn't sound rehearsed. They sounded real. The train doors opened. She looked back at them, then at him, and in that moment, she realized maybe proving herself didn't mean leaving everything behind. Maybe it meant finally letting love meet her where she stood. Wordlessly, she reached for his hand, and this time he didn't let go. 6 months later, Alina stood beneath the glow of a gallery spotlight in New York, her first solo exhibition. The room buzzed with admiration. Her art, once hidden beneath layers of self-doubt, now hung proudly on every wall. And beside her, stood Daniel. He hadn't come as a partner in business, but as a man who finally understood partnership in love. He didn't try to manage her success or take credit. He simply supported her quietly, constantly, like she once did for him. They had spent those months rebuilding not just their relationship, but their individual paths. Daniel took a step back from corporate life, exploring nonprofit mentorships for young entrepreneurs. Alina, now signed to 2 major galleries, taught free weekend art classes in the Bronx. They weren't perfect, but they were growing. And this time, they were doing it together with open eyes and equal hearts. She looked at him across the room, and he smiled, holding up a glassbrode, not possessive. Because when someone truly loves you, they don't clip your wings. They stand at the edge of the sky and cheer when you fly. Did you enjoy the story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next? Tell us in the comments.